Are you ready for the third annual Gala dinner? The Association of Zambians in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia will this year host the third annual Gala dinner on August 24th, 2024. There will be lots of exciting entertainment and we're expecting high-profile special guests. Be sure to stay glued to AZDMV Facebook page for more information. Save the date.
Hi everyone and welcome to the show. It is Saturday, July 20th. We do thank you for joining us from whichever part of the world that you're watching. Good afternoon Zambia, good afternoon Europe, good evening the Western Pacific in Australia, New Zealand, and good morning America. We would like you to notify, tag a friend and let them know that ZBTR is gone alive, and that is our link right there. You can follow us on social media on Facebook, YouTube, and X, and just search for ZBTR TV. Today, we are talking to one of our political leaders in the country of Zambia on the political climate there, the situation. Most of us have heard about the phrase UKAH, which means United Kwacha Alliance, and most of us in the diaspora probably don't even know what that means or the history and the background. So we thought that we should bring one of the leaders, actually the chairperson of UKAH, to be with us and to discuss with us what UKAH is about. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Mr. Sakwiba Sikota. Firstly, he's the president of United Liberal Party, and is also the chairperson, like I've said, of the United Kwacha Alliance. Mr. Sakwiba Sikota is an accomplished lawyer in Zambia State Council. And sir, welcome to the show, and we do thank you for joining us.
Good morning, America, from this afternoon in Zambia.
Welcome, welcome. Now, before we go any further, I want us to get one matter out of the way, and this is what I wanted to do, because I do not want people to think that, you know, at times when you have politicians here, people may not know your background, your history. They may think that you are just starting this game yesterday. I'm going to do this, Mr. Sikota, and I want you to confirm this. That is a list of former UPND vice presidents. I'm sure you can see that. Is that chronology accurate? You were the second vice president in UPND, right?
This is almost correct.
Okay.
In that the first two vice presidents, because UPND has two vice presidents.
Yes.
The first two vice presidents were Dr. Mulwila and myself.
All right.
At first, it was Dr. Mulirwa alone, whilst they were still looking for the second vice president. I was the legal chairman at that time.
Yes.
And then they thought to themselves, well, we don't need to look outside. We've got somebody we can bring up to the position of vice president. So I was uplifted from being chair legal to being the second vice president.
Vice president. Okay.
Thereafter, there were some elections which were held, and I managed to go through. Unfortunately for Dr. Mulirwa, he didn't manage, and that is when Mr. Robert Sichinga came in, and he became the second the third vice president that we had in the party.
Okay,
and
this was under the late Anderson Mazoka, right?
That is right. That is correct.
Excellent. Okay, I just wanted us to go ahead, sir.
Yes, and then thereafter, after the 2006 convention, that is when Patrick Chisanga came in.
Okay.
And both myself and Robert Sichinga dropped off.
All right. I just wanted people to have that background that we are not talking to a political novice here. That's the reason I did that. Because, you know, at times people tend to think that you just came into this yesterday. But I wanted everybody, those who may not know that background or history, Mr. Sikota, to know that you've been around for a while when it comes to politics. Okay, let's begin the UKAH conversation here. So how did this start? Who made that first phone call to, and who did they make the phone call to?
There were a number of leaders who were talking with each other.
Yes.
Way before UKAH was actually born. I, for example, would talk to people like Fred Membe. I would talk to people like Jackson Silagwe. I would talk to people like Chishala Kateka, Andy Ford Banda, Winter Kavimba. Would all be talking. At the same time as I was doing that, I came to learn that my colleagues were also doing the same, talking to various people. One of them who was talking to various people and actually gave me a call was President Chishala Kateka.
Okay.
And we had about 2 meetings with her. And I've come to learn that others were also talking with other people.
Yes.
And basically, the conversation we had in these various meetings I'm talking about is saying, what exactly do we want for Zambia? What is our aim? And you'd find that when you're interacting with the various political leaders of other parties, we all had the same view, that our aim was to bring about a better Zambia, bring about better conditions in Zambia and opportunities. And so you'd ask yourself, if we all want the same, why are we all in different parties? But in terms of then moving from just these conversations into actually moving towards formalizing an alliance, I think that the key players in that were 2. That is President Chishala Kateka and President Jackson Silagwe.
Okay.
They are the ones I believe were the key. And then they started bringing in others. The initial set of leaders who then started meeting formally as a group, as opposed to the one-on-ones I'm talking about, consisted of, I think, the 2 I mentioned, that's President Kateka and President Silagwe, President Edith Nawakwi, President Savoy Mboela, and also, I believe, Presidents Winter Kavimba and President Fred Membe. By the time I was coming into the group, President Fred Membe and President Winter Kavimba were not coming in as often in terms of the meetings.
Okay.
And eventually they stopped. So when we then, and then then there was also President Lungu, who was coming into the deliberations and so forth. This was coincided actually with the time when there was those so-called convention of the Patriotic Front, where Miles Sampa is said to have taken
okay.
over.
Yes.
And he also became part of it. That is President Edgar Lungu. And we had a few meetings, and eventually we thought ourselves, let us formalize this.
Okay.
And I think that was in November of
last year.
When we said, let's work towards formalizing this. And I think February or March of this year, we then actually formally told the people that this is what we've decided we shall do.
Okay. How many presidents, how many political parties comprise UKAH?
As of now, it's 13.
13?
Yes, 13 political parties.
13 political parties. So have you tried to, is this registered or you're just operating on a mutual understanding? The reason I asked that question, Council, is because a friend told me that you tried to register and the government blocked it. Is there any truth in that?
There's a total truth in that. I think that the government is very afraid of us. I don't know why they should be afraid of us. What they should be doing, rather than concentrating on trying to stop our registration, is they should be countering what we say and what we stand for. That is what they should be doing, and not trying to use lawfare to stop us from operating. So we went and we cleared the name United Kwacha Alliance. And after the name United Kwacha Alliance was cleared, we then started going through the process of having it registered. One of the things that's required is that you have to have 10 office bearers, initial office bearers, who are going to be vetted by the police in terms of whether or not they've got criminal records or not. We put in our fingerprints for the 10 that we wanted to be the office bearers, and the police just sat on that. We'd go and see them, they'll tell us, we'll get back to you, and in the meantime, the Minister of Home Affairs, Jack Mwimbu, would go on to media and say, this UKAH, they are not even bringing their papers for registration, when he knew full well that the papers were with the police, and the police were the ones who were in the way of us then taking the next step. The next step have been now getting the City Council to clear, also endorse on our forms. I don't know why there's that provision in the law, to be honest, but we're going to do it anyway. But that happens after the police have done their part. The police to date are holding on to those documents, to date, as I speak. Eventually, through a lot of pressure, they then said, okay, the forms are ready. The police have finished with the fingerprints. We went there and got the documents, and then they said, no, but 4 of the people, is it 3 or 4 of the people on your forms have got, even though they don't have court, they don't have conviction records, they're appearing in court. As you know, President Awakwi is appearing in court, President Savoy is appearing in court, and one other is appearing in court. But appearing in court is not a criminal record. There's a presumption of innocence.
Yes. Yes.
We pushed that on them and impressed on them to say that is not a reason to hold back. And because they knew that they can't use that, they said, okay, fine, but know that these people are facing charges. So in other words, they're basically saying that, if any of them are convicted, then we're going to raise that as an issue towards your registration. So I said, fine, we got the forms, and now we're supposed to go to the station where the fingerprints had been done to get the officer in charge to sign the form. We went there. The officer in charge says, no, we've been told that we can no longer be doing this. You have to go to service headquarters. Went to service headquarters say, no, you have to go to divisional, Lusaka Divisional Police. That's where they'll do it. Went to Lusaka Divisional Police. The Lusaka Divisional Police point us back to Woodlands Police Station. So there's this ridiculous ping pong. So eventually, I had to go and see, I don't know where the Inspector General of Police was, but at the time, acting as Inspector General was Deputy Inspector General of Police Muyamba. Said, we are being told to go left, right, and center. Where should we go? And then he gave us a specific officer under him, said, okay, he will deal with your issues. So went there, and then the officer then says, oh, there's certain things which are missing. Things we had given earlier on to those under him. So we resubmitted all the things. That was CVs of the names of the people who were on that list and copies of the national registration cards. So we resubmitted everything again. And then started waiting, went back to him. He says, oh, now it's with the Deputy Inspector General of Police. Went to see the Deputy Inspector General of Police, and then the Deputy Inspector General of Police says that it's actually the Inspector General of Police who has the documents, but the Inspector General of Police is unwell. So the whole of this week, we've been waiting for the Inspector General of Police to become well. Yesterday, I rang the Deputy Inspector General of Police and said, is the Inspector General of Police in the office now? And then that's when he says, I'm not sure because now I'm not well, I'm actually at home. So that's where we are now. So on Monday, I'm going to try to see whether either the Deputy Inspector General of Police or the Inspector General of Police are in the office. So you can see the kind of games that they're playing. Perhaps at this stage, I should also point out, because people ask, is United Kwacha Alliance a party or is it a pressure group or what is it?
Yes.
There are two entities that we want to have registered. One is the United Kwacha Alliance, which is not a political party, but it's an umbrella body under which various political parties are going to operate. It is open not only to political parties, but it is also open to non-governmental organizations. It's open to faith-based organizations, professional bodies, and so forth. That is the United Kwacha Alliance. It's an umbrella body for various groupings. We also applied for registration of a political party. The political party that we want to have registered is UKAH, not United Kwacha Alliance, but UKAH, just the name UKAH.
Just UKAH.
Just UKAH. Now, when you are making an application for reservation of a name with the Registrar of Societies, you have to give 3 names at least. So we put in UKAH, Ukani, and Arise. When we went there, we were told UKAH is not available because by then they knew that UKAH was being sought by the United Kwacha Alliance. They said Ukani and Arise, okay, then go ahead with those. So we went back and we're starting now to do the paperwork with the name Ukani. And the very next day, a phone call came from one of the officers at the Registrar of Societies saying, no, sorry, Ukani is not available. You can't use it. I said, why? They said, no, it's not available. You told us yesterday it was available. No, it's not available. I said, okay, fine. If that's not available, then we'll use Arise, the other one you said was available. They said, no, even Arise is not available. I said, why? He said, we don't need to tell you. We said, please tell us. They insisted they don't need to tell us. Went there, saw them physically. They said no. Started trying to see the registrar of society, but each time we went there, she was not available for us. So eventually decided to see the permanent secretary, Matembo, who's in charge of registrar of societies. And I decided that I myself personally am the one who went to see him. And he said that, no, what you should do is write to the registrar of societies asking why and so forth. I also told him that there's also, for the United Kwacha Alliance, the time preservation of the name is coming towards an end. And we need to have that extended. He said, oh, no, just write a letter as well to the registrar for extension, and that will be dealt with. Okay. So did that, wrote 2 letters, and the registrar of society, not even the decency of acknowledgement of the letter, and has done nothing. So where we stand now is we are going to be going to court to ask the court to compel the registrar to answer our question as to why those names are not available for the political party, and why for the umbrella body she is not giving us the extension of reservation of the name. Clearly, it's because there must be instructions from up above.
There's interference somewhere. Because actually my next question was going to be, you are a lawyer yourself, and you're amongst other leaders in the team. They are legal professionals. I was saying you just take legal action on the whole matter. So there is this notion, State Council, that the first a certain sector of the nation, or even generally, if you may so say that, even in the diaspora, that UKAH is just a bunch of HH enemies coming together.
Yes.
It's not about the nation or failed policies, just HH haters. What's your response? I'm sure you've heard that notion.
I've heard that.
What's your response to that?
Whenever I do anything, they say, oh, no, this is just a hater of HH. What do you expect from him? But what they conveniently forget is, there's no doubt that what HH and his group did in 2006 was wrong. You cannot go about saying that the person to take over from Mazoka must be a Tonga. There's no doubt. Nobody can say that was right. That was terribly wrong.
Yeah.
But in spite of that, I am gracious enough, big enough to say that's water under the bridge.
Under the bridge, yeah.
To prove to you that it is water under the bridge. I think you do remember that HH was prosecuted some years back over those statements regarding the Darfur, and saying that people were being trained in Darfur. I don't know whether you recall that.
Yes, I do recall that.
Now, I'm going to now try to tickle your memory a little bit. Who was his lawyer?
That's a good one. You were.
I was his lawyer.
Yes, you were.
I'm the man who saved him from going into jail. Now, if I was such a bitter person against him, would I have gone out there and defended him? Certainly not.
Yeah.
Apart from that, there is a time when a number of opposition MPs were being harassed by the government. You had people like Jack Mwimbu, people like Gary Nkombo. You had several of them. You had some who were independents, like Mucheleka, for example.
Yes.
He was an independent then, and he was being harassed. I am the one who went and represented them at the International Parliamentary Union, the IPU.
Yes.
I am the one who drafted up their petitions, which were taken there. As a result of that, the IPU even sent a team of 2 to come and investigate on their behalf. I was the one who did that. I am the one who went and suggested to them, let's do this. The records are there. I've got the documents and everything to show that I am the one who did that.
That's why it's important
If I hated the UPND, I'm answering that. If I hated UPND, would I have been doing all that for them? You know, so
good question.
So I hope that people now will stop this really false narrative that I'm just a hater. Somebody who has helped them so significantly cannot be called a hater.
I know. That's why it's important, Mr. Sikota, to do some historical perspective, so that, because people tend to forget and they think that, oh, you are just, like I said, this is just a bunch of HH haters and that kind of thing. So should we assume that UKAH's objective is to form a government of national unity, if we may say that, in 2026?
Our intention is that the next government of Zambia should be one of people whose focus is to bring about a new trajectory for Zambia in terms of the kind of politics that we do, in terms of equality of opportunity for all in Zambia, and in terms of having a true desire to see the nation prosper and making Zambia the main focus. That is what our aim is. If UPND do that, it will make us the happiest people in Zambia. If we have a UPND government which is free of corruption, a UPND government which makes the priority the better advancement of Zambia, a UPND government which would ensure that all sections and all parts of Zambia are looked after, a UPND government which would be putting people there on the basis of merit, we would be the happiest people in the world. However, if UPND is not going to meet up to those standards, I think that it is then our responsibility to ensure that a government is put in place which will do this. So removal of UPND is not our main aim. Our main aim is to secure those things I've mentioned, bettering Zambians' lives and so on. If it means getting rid of UPND, it means that UPND will merely be collateral damage. Not the main aim, it will be collateral damage.
Collateral damage. Excellent. Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to ask Mr. Sikota to address the critical issues that are affecting the Zambian people, economic issues, employment, standard of living, and all those things. Let's take a break. We are discussing the political situation in Zambia and the role of UKAH, which is United Kwacha Alliance. Our guest today is Mr. Sakwiba Sikota, State Council, who is the chairperson. Um, State Council, there is this argument. You know, a lot of people say there's a high cost of living in Zambia. And when I was preparing for this, somebody said to me, tell him that it isn't Zambia alone. The high cost of living is a global phenomenon. That argument of saying the whole world is experiencing an economic downward for trend downward, and every citizen, all the citizens, I don't know. What's your response when people give that argument about the high cost of living?
That is a very convenient argument. I think people should be looking at each particular country and seeing whether that pressure, which is the global pressure, is being exacerbated by what is being done in that particular country. Yes, there is generally globally a tight economic situation, but
Yes.
every country is not nosediving at the same
At
rate
the same time.
at the same time. And when you look at Zambia, there are certain things that one can point to say, if this was not done, our situation would not be as bad as it is now. And if we had in place a government which was astute enough to know that we should not go down these paths, we would not have the kind of problems we have. There would still be problems, but they would be lighter. So that is what is important.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. And then coming to the matter of, you know, I've always asked this question, and nobody seems to address it. Maybe you can help me today and my fellow Zambian citizens watching. What really, where does load shedding, what led to this, Mr. Sikot? Where did the problem start? It- like we gave a historical background. You've been in the political arena for a while. Chiluba had the drought. He didn't have load shedding because they are giving the excuse of drought and low levels of water in the Kariba and everybody. What really is the problem of load shedding? Where does it start from?
Let me start with the drought excuse.
Yes.
We've had, like you rightly put it, drought in this country before. This is not the first time we've had drought. In fact, we've had a drought which was even more severe than this. I used to be a member of parliament for Livingston. But at the time, the drought I'm talking about, I was no longer a member of parliament there. But it shows you that I know Livingston. Never in my life, except for that drought, have I ever seen not a single drop of water coming over the Victoria Falls. Not a single drop. The current drought we have now is not like that one that I'm telling you about, where you had not a single drop of water falling on the Victoria Falls. We've got water going over the Victoria Falls.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. I wish I could show pictures here. There was that time, I agree with you.
So that shows you that this is not the worst drought that we have had. So now, moving to the load shedding part, I think that it is quite clear that even if you say drought is partly an excuse, even if you were to say that, it has been exacerbated and made worse by the fact that this government is exporting our power to other countries.
But why export when there is a great need. You cannot give out when and deprive your citizens. That's not even, it doesn't make logical sense.
What is happening in Zambia is that you then have people who will be the middlemen who will then be getting contracts from country X. They'll go country X, say we are able to do such and such to get you this amount of power. They say, okay, please do so. And then because they've got connections with people here, they come and then have a deal done to export. Now, obviously, those middlemen will make a handsome amount because that is the only reason you find that they are willing to export when they know that their own people are suffering. No other reason. So it is that greed to make money. Even with the food, the maize stocks,
Yes.
it is also similarly the reason why you had this exportation of our strategic reserve being made. It is those middlemen who then get involved in the transactions, which is a very sad state of affairs. A government should not be allowing such things to happen.
Yeah, I tell you, it's something else. Anyway, for the sake of our those watching, next week I'm having an energy expert here to discuss the solutions to our energy crisis. So what happens? The
I
little
hope he's not an engineer because our president says engineers are useless.
I told him that I don't know how you're going to address this issue because anyway, we are just repeating what was said. One other issue I want us to address, State Council, is those of you who are watching, thank you. We appreciate you. And we just, for those that have questions, Matilda in Kansas City, thank you. My young man, JC Chisimba, Grassroots Media is watching closely. Make sure you boost this thing, Chisimba. I like. This question, Richard, has already been addressed. When will UKAH be a registered political institution by Registrar of Societies? Having UKAH registered will be a great breakthrough and leading light to the other end of the tunnel. State Council addressed this at the beginning. I don't know whether you want to comment quickly on this so
I
that
want
Rich...
to make a quick comment with your permission. I agree with you that registration would be the best way to go. However, we are not very anxious about that, unnecessarily anxious. And we want to tell our supporters and sympathizers not to be too worried about it. Because if you look at the UPND Alliance, it has never been registered either. Yet, even on state functions, you'll find that they talk about, oh, such and such will come in, next coming in will be UPND Alliance leaders. So if on official state papers, they can talk about an unregistered alliance, then equally with United Kwacha Alliance, we can operate just the way the UPND Alliance is operating. And that is what we're doing.
I like that comment.
And if they carry on and not allow us to register UKAH, the political party, we shall maintain usage of the name UKAH. It's like with Bali will fix it. Bali will fix it is not registered anywhere or anything, but it has been used by the UPND. Bali will fix it, Bali will fix it. So even with us, whether registered or not, we shall keep on utilizing UKAH. UKAH is already in the hearts of and minds of the Zambian people. and nothing will take it away. It's in their minds and hearts, not because it's registered, but because of the idea and of what it stands for. That is what has placed it in their hearts.
That's
So
true.
my colleague who was saying that we hope that it will be registered. Yes, but do not fret if it isn't, because it is already in your heart and your mind. Keep it there.
That's true.
And in terms of us being able to field candidates, one candidate for the opposition,
Yes.
starting right from ward level right up to president, we will do that whether they allow us to register a political party or not. Like I told you, there are 13 political parties.
Parties, yeah.
If it comes to that, we'll merely choose one of the parties to say, okay, fine. Every single one of our candidates from ward level right up to president will stand on the party. And we'll go out and say the UKAH candidates are going to be standing on party X.
Okay.
And so what the UPND is trying to do and what they're afraid of, unfortunately, is a nightmare that they're still going to face.
I don't know if you are able to comment on no, not that one. I'm looking for David Mumba's comment. I know you are JJ, Honorable JJ's lawyer. How is JJ Petauke? We don't have an MP without is going on. And he says, stop being cowards and take a bull by the horn. Are you able to comment on JJ's situation?
Yes, I am. It is very, very clear that the only reason JJ is in custody right now is they're trying to break him. They're trying to stop him from talking to the people. They're trying to coerce him to change his story. But I think you have seen that in spite of efforts by permanent secretaries Matembo and Kawana, he was in that voice recording. You can actually hear him saying, I cannot tell a lie and just implicate people. And they try to get him to recant what he had said, and says, I can't. I can't tell a lie. So obviously he's in a situation which nobody should be in. Our prisons are not the most comfortable of places.
Is he still in custody?
He's still in custody, yes. Because
from the hospital to prison?
Yes. They're giving him a charge which is not bailable, that of aggravated robbery. And they are basing it on something which he was prosecuted on 8 years ago. And the courts dealt with the matter. They found that what there was a simple assault, not aggravated robbery, but a simple assault. And they fined him and said in default of him paying the fine, he would go into prison. Naturally, he paid the fine. So the matter was heard. Now, they're arguing, saying that, okay, then he was facing assault. Now he's facing aggravated robbery. But the fact of the matter is, he was facing a charge arising out of a sequence of events and facts. That is what was taken. And what was found was that from that sequence of events and facts, what he was guilty of was assault. And he was convicted on that. You cannot then come back with the same sequence of events and facts to say, now we're charging him with another offense. So the doctrine of autre foi acquit still prevails, that you cannot bring him back for that. He has already served for that. But of course, because they don't follow the rule of law and because they just want to have something that will keep him in prison, they've gone ahead to recharge him again.
Okay. Thank you, David, for that comment. You've done well, because I didn't know that that's what was going on with JJ, actually. Thank you, David. And Alan from Florida is following us, and Tandiwe from Slovenia. I hope that's the way you pronounce that name. Thank you, Tandiwe. We appreciate you joining us. And Timuka is here to liberate us. Oh, my baby sister, Council, is watching. It's nice when family supports, eh?
Which one is your baby sister?
This one, Wariankama. Yeah, she's watching. Thank you, Waria. Don, the council has already addressed this, the issue of registration. It's stuck. That's where I can say it's lingering somewhere. And you know what? One of the issues, let's continue our conversation here. There are a few things that I want us to tackle here, but we don't want to hold council for a long time. When the price of fuel, as far as my memory serves me, when the price of fuel changes, everything changes. I don't even know how this has been working because the price of fuel changes every other month, or I don't know how many months it changes. The bus fares obviously change. I don't know. How has this been working?
It's not working. That's what I can say. I say it's not working because
It can't work.
if you are in business, you need to make plans. Part of what constitutes your plans are your costs. One of the
Yes.
main costs in any of the businesses is fuel and transportation costs.
Yes.
Now, if it keeps on fluctuating the way it is doing, it becomes difficult to plan.
Mm-hmm.
So if I know that there's all these wild fluctuations, if I'm a businessman and I'm planning, I will say, even if today, let's say fuel is at 10, and I know that just 3 months ago, it was at 17, and that it may go back to 17 and maybe even further than 17 because it's just been going all over the place. In my planning, I'll say, yes, it's 10 now, but I'll assume for planning purposes, I'll work with 20 so that I can hedge in case there's these wild fluctuations.
Yes.
So I'll place it at 20. Now, my placing it at 20 increases the cost of my goods or whatever services that I'm providing. That also impacts on other industries and so forth. It eventually also impacts on the kwacha dollar rate.
Mm-hmm.
Then you find even that now is going all over the place. Because right now, if you look at the exchange rate, it's also so volatile. So as I'm planning, I'll say, apart from the fuel issue, there's also this issue of this unstable dollar. Right
Yes.
now, okay, it's at 5, but last week it was at 10. So it may go back to 10 or even further. So let me plan with 13 or 14 to hedge against that. That again, once that happens and the dollar goes up, it starts impacting the fuel price again. you know. So you have each one putting pressure on the other to keep on rising because there isn't that confidence put into the minds of the people who are economic actors to know that there is stability. If it's going down gradually, steadily, not fluctuating like that. That doesn't give confidence. So you'll see that there's also now a realization by people that there is a lot of manipulation by the government. Just soon before they were to announce these last fuel prices, all of a sudden, miraculously, the kwacha dollar rate, excuse me, came down very, very significantly. So instead of the rise in the fuel prices that everybody expected, they brought down the fuel price. But within a week of that miraculous appreciation of the kwacha against the dollar, it again went right back to where it was before the fuel was adjusted. That tells you that that was an artificial strengthening of the kwacha so that they could look good politically, that look, fuel is actually come down. That's not the way to run an economy. Because, like I said, you're now creating this great instability in the economy. There are other people who are hurt when you have all these fluctuations. Is if today I've imported some goods at when the rate was at 10 kwacha to the dollar.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it's come down to 6 to the dollar. My goods are on the way, and the following day somebody orders, and he orders at 6. His goods are also on the way. They may arrive even at the same time or just a day after mine. I put mine in the shop, and he puts his in the shop. Nobody will come and buy mine because they'll say, no, down the road, this one is selling at that amount. And so my business then collapses. I have great losses. I may even have to close down, may even have to lay off workers. And this other one, yes, will think. So you have all that kind of dysfunction happening in an economy. And that is because of this manipulation and falsity that they create in terms of the kwacha dollar.
Okay. One of the things that was even addressed strongly, is the shrinking democratic space. UKAH was able to hold a rally in Kitwe. Was that a sign that things were changing? I would also like you to address the issue of police brutality, because I thought this went away, presumably with the PF government as things were. So shrinking democratic space. UKAH held the rally in Kitwe. Was that a sign that things have changed?
No, it's not a sign that things have changed. The police still insist that they have the right to give permission. There's no such provision in our law. The law merely requires that you notify the police. And if, for example, I've notified the police that tomorrow I'm going to do a procession on Cairo Road from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m., the only time the police can come and say, no, is if they come and say, no, already we've got notification that there's this other group who are going to be on that route.
Same place, yeah.
Same place, so you cannot go ahead. Not for them to come and say, we don't have enough policemen. Because we will be providing marshals. And if we fail to provide the marshals and there's going to be problems, then we'll get arrested for that. But they take it upon themselves to say that they have to give permission. There were the youths, the ones who were talking about fixed ZESCO.
Yes.
They gave notification that they wanted to go and protest with regards to the load shedding, with regards to the schedules which were not being followed. And the police were saying, no, you can't have that, because what's the point? These people are working on that. You're allowed to protest even if you are not going to present an answer to the problem you're protesting against. You've got the right to protest just to even highlight that we've got this problem. You've got the right to protest even if what you're protesting about is silly. If I want, I can go out and protest and say that I'm protesting to demand that government must be giving us a holiday 7 days a week. Clearly a ridiculous thing. very clearly a ridiculous thing that I would be going to protest for. But I've got the right to go and protest, even if it's ridiculous, so long as it is not something which is asking people to harm others or to break the law.
Yes.
Even if what I am protesting about does not offer a solution, I've got the right to protest. So they do not have the right to say what your protest doesn't make sense. And surely they should not be saying that you can only protest if you're going to protest to give answers to a problem. No, you can protest merely to even highlight the problem. To say there's this problem, it's a big problem, fix it. But I'm not offering you answers, but fix it. You've got the right to make that protest. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a democratic, what do you call it? It's a constitutional right, isn't it?
right, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it is a
then
constitution.
going back to shrinking democratic space. Yes, they allowed that one rally, but at the same time as they're doing that, they are also not allowing people to even go and pray. If a politician goes to a church on Sunday, they are stopping that. They are even tear gassing some churches and so forth. That is not a sign of democratic space being opened up. Surely it isn't.
No, okay, that's very clear. One of the
issue, one last thing.
okay.
The issue of not allowing for political parties to be formed, the hindrances, unnecessary hindrances they are giving to the UKAH registration is another clear sign that they're not interested in creating democratic space.
A democratic space.
Further, when you have people who are arrested on cases which are bondable, they will not give them bond. They will not take them to court within 24 hours. They will be in there for about a week before they're taken to court. That is not expanding political space.
No, it's
political
not.
space is not just rallies. It is all these other things as well.
That's right. Point made very well clear, and I'm sure everybody appreciates who's watching. One of the interesting things that happened recently, State Council, is the nullification of the 9 parliamentary seats. What happened there? What really led to that?
You know, it's really sad in that the UPND pretends as if they've got nothing to do with it. It all started with the Miles Sampa incident of 24th October 2023. Everybody will remember the day Miles Sampa became president, in inverted commas, of PF. They'll remember it because it was on a the biggest national holiday we've ever had. 24th October, Independence Day. They'll also remember it because, quite surprisingly, on that day, at 20 hours in the evening of 24th October, the police, by pure coincidence, were at Force Headquarters, Police Service Headquarters, waiting to take fingerprints of the people who were elected at that conference, and to clear them within minutes. Those fingerprints were cleared. With our UKAH fingerprints, 2.5 months, 3 months before they were cleared. But those ones, within minutes, on a public holiday, at night, they were cleared. The following day, early in the morning, Registrar of Society changed
office bearers.
They took the change of office bearers to the Registrar of Societies early in the morning. They had On Independence Day, a very large number of police guarding them at Mulungushi International Conference Center. All that tells you that it was a state-sponsored affair. It's as clear as day. You know? And when it goes to the courts, it just lies there, lies there, lies there, lies there. No progress is made on it. So, along with that plan was to make PF not have the numbers that it has. So
in Parliament.
Yes, 9 were expelled by the PF, the UPND projected PF. And when Mao Sampa and his group realized that no, they were being used and everything, and they were coming back in line, they wrote saying, no, those expulsions are rescinded. The National Assembly did not act on them, whereas before, when whatever would be sent by Mao Sampa was acted upon immediately. They did not act upon it. They allowed for another convention, MCC meeting to be held, MCC meeting in inverted commas again. And then somebody else declared, Chavinga declared as now president. And then Ngona, his Secretary General writes. And then they act on what Ngona has written. But the earlier letter that Mao Sampa wrote, they don't act on. So clearly a UPND project. Because why was the National Assembly not acting and allowing these other ones to do this? And then once they've done that, they say, we've received this, so we're acting on this from the other group. So that's how those seats were declared vacant. The aim is that UPND wants to get to the 2/3 number in Parliament so that they can lift the immunity of the former president, so that they can put in constitutional amendments, one of which is to increase the tenure of office of the president from being 5 years to 7 years, because intelligence reports have told them that they are losing the 2026 election. So they're trying desperately to buy time so that they don't face the Zambian people in 2026. So that is how those proposed by-elections have come about. Those 9 went to court, got an injunction, and the Attorney General is trying to fight against that injunction so that their plan can go ahead.
Wow. Well, Honorable Muitua, you have an open invitation to come here and present your case. We have reached out, but it has not worked. Let's talk about the corruption, Mr. Sikota. Corruption. I mean, before we do that, let's just take a quick break here. I want you to take a glass of water, and then we shall come back and continue this conversation.
Are you ready for the 3rd annual Gala Dinner? The Association of Zambians in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia will this year host the 3rd annual Gala Dinner on August 24th, 2024. There will be lots of exciting entertainment, and we're expecting high-profile special guests. Be sure to stay glued to AZDMV Facebook page for more information. Save the date.
Hope you're enjoying our conversation. We are honored to have UKAH chairperson, State Council Sakwiba Sikota, discussing a wide range of issues. The reason we're talking about a lot of things here is that it's the first time I'm having him on the show, so I need to take advantage. And
I'm willing to come as many times as you're willing to have me.
Yes, we shall be. Immediately something happens, I'll be reaching out to you. State Council, do you see the recent events at the Anti-Corruption Commission as probably the reason the commission has failed to perform? Because there are a lot of things that haven't worked at until the Director General, did he resign or something like that? And the President dissolves the Board of Directors. What message did that send to you?
I think it's a very serious situation that we have. And I think that it requires for the state to really address it with honesty and with seriousness. I was very happy when the Speaker of the National Assembly ordered Honor the Vice President to make a ministerial statement.
Yes.
Over the same. But I must say I was sorely disappointed. The statement was made on Thursday.
Oh.
And I actually cleared my calendar. I had a number of appointments and so on. I said, this here is an important matter affecting our country.
Yes.
I listened in and watched parliamentary proceedings live as they were made. And the Honor the Vice President did not attend to that issue with any amount of seriousness. I don't know whether you watched it.
I didn't see it.
It's there on the parliamentary website.
I'll go and look at it.
Look at it. She skirted round the issue, did not address it at all. And then thereafter, you have the DG tendering his resignation. We're not told the reasons or given the letter for him to state whether he's resigning in order to facilitate investigations, or he's resigning just merely in view of the serious allegations against him, or he's resigning because he's for medical grounds, for example. We don't know the reason he has resigned.
Oh, he hasn't given a reason?
We've not seen the letter. All we've seen is
media reports that he has resigned.
And the statement from Hamasaka on behalf of the president that his resignation has been accepted. But the reasons for it and so on, we don't know. Then we get a statement that the board has been dissolved. This is what concerns me. That board has been dissolved at a time when there's serious allegations being made by the board, or at least one of the board members. But that which Dr. Kaba said, the other board members did not dispute or put out a statement saying this is not correct. That statement was there for more than a week before the DG resigned.
Yes.
It was in public for more than a week.
Yeah, I remember that.
I assume that if I'm on a board and then one of the board members, for example, I'm on the UKAH board.
Yes.
If one of the UKAH members makes a statement and it's something that has not been decided by UKAH, we will immediately say, no, that is not the UKAH position. The ACC board did not do that with Dr. Kaba's statement. So it is fair to assume that they were in agreement with what Dr. Kaba was saying. Now, if they were, is the state telling us that Dr. Kaba and the board are liars and were lying? The Zambian people need to know, were they telling the truth or were they lying? if they were telling the truth, how is it, can we have an explanation that how is it that instead of acting on what they have said, you dissolve and dismiss them? It raises very serious questions. One of the aspects about corruption and fighting corruption is that transparency is of the utmost importance.
Most definitely. Otherwise, it's you can't do it without transparency.
You can't do it without transparency. So be transparent. Let us know what exactly is happening, what's happening at the ACC. Why have you found it fit and prudent to dissolve the board of ACC? What are you going to put in place if there was something the board was doing wrong to actually ensure that we do not have a repeat?
Yes.
How are you going to make us, the ordinary people, feel that we can have faith in the ACC and the fight against corruption? Can you give us an assurance that what has been stated, that you as head of state, under whom you have placed ACC and other law enforcement agencies, that statutory instrument, which put it directly under the president, that they have not been seeing you and reporting to you, that whenever they would try to, they are not given the chance to do so? Is that true or not? If it's not true, how many times have you met them since they were appointed? Is it also true, what has been stated, that the DG had sidelined the board, who was supposed to be his supervisors, and instead was coming straight to report to the State House? Is that true? If it's true, why were you allowing that? There are so many questions that need to be answered, that cannot be simply swept under the
under the carpet.
And surely also ask your VP to go back to Parliament and give a mature, serious, well thought out ministerial statement, not an evasive statement like what given. The Zambian people deserve to have a full explanation.
Can UKAH, on behalf of the citizens, demand that an explanation be given why that action has been taken, dissolve the board? The citizens deserve to know.
We have demanded that, and we've gone further. I think you must have seen my press statement on behalf of UKAH, where we've demanded that this matter is so serious that there's a need for an independent commission of inquiry to look at the happenings at the ACC. And that this commission of inquiry, because quite often, not only in Zambia, but all over the world, sometimes governments under pressure, in order to sort of like deflect the pressure and have a slow release of the tension, appoint a commission of inquiry, which will go on and on and on for years and years. People even forget, oh, there's a commission of inquiry over this and so forth, and the thing dies off. We demanded that a commission of inquiry must be put in place with a fixed set of time within which they must report back, and also with the provision that as they give out their report, it is not just given to the state and then left to the state as to whether or not they'll give it to the public, but it is given both to the state and the public at the same time, because this matter is of the greatest public interest. And
Yes,
that commission of inquiry is on behalf of the people. That is the
most
demand
definitely.
the United Kwacha Alliance is making.
This brings me to the next issue to do with corruption, state council. The revelation of at ZAMSA, the Zambia Medicine and Medical, the containers full of expired medicines. Number one, the medicines were expired or just about to expire. Number two, the containers were at a privately owned storage facility. Doesn't this also require an investigation, like you have said, for the issues going on to anti-corruption commission? There has to be an investigation on this to the fullest extent, because the minister Masebo is not convincing from what she's saying. Whatever she's saying, she's not making sense, because we might even go to the extent of saying she's party to what is going on, because she's the head of the health department, the health issues in the country. What is UKA's position on what happened, the revelation of this situation at ZAMSA?
We are very, very saddened by the revelations of what has happened at ZAMSA. And certainly there is, with that as well, a need for an independent investigation into those matters. There's a need for an independent investigation because quite clearly the government seems to always be so defensive whenever one of its own or one of its favored sons or daughters is being, that they are not out there to try to tell the people the truth and to expose what the truth is, but they are there to try to bury the truth and to protect the people in power. This issue to us is tragic. Tragic in the sense that those containers have been marooned, we're told, from about January, February this year, I believe, something like that. And these are of the items which were ordered from Egypt. And the things which were ordered from Egypt, most of the supplies in there were IV fluids and units. That is most of them. What really saddens us is that March, April, we had that cholera outbreak.
Yes.
The worst cholera outbreak we've had these last few decades. Scores of people died, scores of people, to the extent that Heroes Stadium had to be opened up.
Yeah, I remember that.
We've never had to go to that extent. It shows you how large the problem was. Then we were told, and a lot of people may have forgotten, that because of this, there was a need to secure emergency supplies of IV fluids because there was a shortage in the country. I don't know whether you've seen what I've just said. There was a shortage of IV fluids in the country.
Wow.
At the same time as they were doing this single sourcing to bring in these emergency supplies of IV fluids because of the shortage, we had those containers with IV fluids which were at Makeni.
Wow.
Are you able to put that together? And how is it reacting
that's insensitive. That's not being sensitive.
Reacting in your mind when you put it together. That, to me, demands that the president must call all of the people who lost their loved ones during that cholera outbreak. All of them, call them. Call the Zambian people. Address the Zambian people on that one point. Why were you letting Zambians die in the cholera outbreak on account of there not being enough IV fluids when you had in Makeni IV fluids, which by then had not expired? Why? And what can you say to the people who lost their loved ones because of that? To me, that is the greatest tragedy there is. Somebody has to be made account to pay for that which happened.
Yeah. Seriously.
It really boggles my mind as to how those people go each night and sleep easily. How the president does not see it fit to explain to the Zambian people why that happened.
Yeah.
And turning still to the issue of those containers.
Yes.
We were told that it's a government to government transaction.
Donation.
But apparently there's a middleman in there. And the middleman got 10%, got about $7 million. So it wasn't a government to government.
If it was a government to government, was it supposed to cost? Shouldn't it have been like a donation? I'm just thinking,
There's so many things about this which it give me a headache to think about. And I need answers. And I think the Zambian people deserve clear answers on that. We're talking about the health and well-being of the Zambian people.
Yeah, that's
the large
true.
number of people who have lost their lives. Let's have that empathy and sympathy of at least coming out clean. What exactly happened?
Yeah, it's true. Alan says, where is civil society, e.g. church bodies, in all this? Why are they mute? And Tandiwe says, Silva Masebo must be relieved of her duty. She's entangled in the scandal. Why is President HH protecting her? Minister Masebo, you have an open invitation to come here and speak your position. Government spokesperson, like I've said, you all have invitations to come here and speak your position. State Council, I want us to end with this. Legal issues or legal matters can be a little bit, they are not easily understood by the ordinary citizens. One of the contentious issues going on in the country right now it has come up again. It has got to do with former President Edgar Lungu's eligibility. Let me play this clip, then you explain to us what it really means.
We had raised a preliminary issue this matter. A preliminary issue is simply a matter or an issue of law, question of law, that determines the matter of finality. In this case, we're arguing that this matter has already been determined 3 times before, and the court can't continue rehearing the same matter. But today the court has come up with a ruling to say there are a lot of contentious issues that are being raised by the petitioner, as well as ourselves, and they would not be inclined to dismiss it as a preliminary issue, but they're inclined to hear the whole matter so that they can come up with a final determination. So that's the stage at which we are at. So we'll be appearing before a single judge to tell us or to schedule when the main matter will be heard. And when that is done, we will let you know when the next matter will be heard. I hope that was as simple as
that. I picked two things there. The preliminary matter, this matter has been heard 3 times before.
Yes. The preliminary matter which Council Makebi Zulu had raised was that this case had come up on at least 3 occasions before the same court and has been dealt with before. And so the principle of res judicata, which means that once a matter has been dealt with, you cannot bring it again, should apply, and this case should be thrown out. Now, the state in answer said that, yes, it has come up 3 times, but we're going to show that there is something different about this time what has been brought. Not quite sure what they're saying is different, and the court has merely stated in that ruling on the day that in view of the fact that they're saying that there's some new things, we'll hear it, and then that's when we'll decide whether there's new things which have been brought. So it's sort of like they've kicked the can down the road, that they'll deal with it in the main case. I am aware that it has been dealt with before because I was involved in, for example, the Danny Pule case.
Yes.
And really, I agree with the Council Makebi Zulu that this matter has been dealt with before. And we are wasting the court's time by bringing the same matter over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Has the date been set for the next hearing? I hope that's the right language.
That's the right language, but a date has not yet been set.
Okay. We shall leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our show for today. The purpose of this conversation was for us to expose the UKAH leadership to the diaspora and for us to understand the workings of UKAH, the vision, the way forward, and the issues that they're dealing with. I do hope that State Council Sakwiba Sikota has answered your questions. You have heard for yourselves, he said he is available anytime we need him back. So whenever we have matters to raise with our UKAH leaders, we shall get back to them. Mr. Sikota, thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me, and I hope that I've managed to UKAHize some of the people who may have been.
I like that. Most definitely. You could see the listenership was global. I mean, this is where, if you want to communicate anything to the diaspora, this is the place to come. So that's the reason we had you here, so that we could understand, we could do some organization, you know. Thank you, sir. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Same to you.
I think somebody told me that today is Mandela Day, right? Happy Mandela Day to you, great leaders.
Happy Mandela Day to you as well. If we had a 2 minutes or so, I'll tell you an interesting story about Mandela. Mandela once kept me waiting whilst he was kissing his line of ladies. True story. Kept me waiting, and he was kissing about 80, 90 ladies.
Oh my goodness.
It was, I think, way back in 1996 or 95.
Okay.
Then I was chairman of the Law Association of Zambia, and there was a international law conference, which was in South Africa. And Mandela invited the SADC presidents and chairmen of the law associations in there. in the various SADC
region.
countries.
Oh, okay.
So we all went there. It was at the Pretoria residence, and the Pretoria residence is on this sort of like hill. And then you look down, there's somewhere where there's like a gazebo and so forth, where sometimes he has meetings.
Okay.
So
that's where he made you
waiting for our meeting. We were looking down, they told us, no, he's just finishing up with something and he'll be coming up to see you. And we just saw this line of very beautiful women, about, like I said, about 80 or 90 of them, each one of them walking one by one and giving him a kiss, you know. And we were waiting whilst he's kissing these ladies. And those ladies were kissing at the same time as we were having our conference. That's when the Miss World conference was happening in South Africa.
In South Africa, I remember that.
Their meeting was just before ours, and it wasn't Mandela who demanded to kiss him. It's them who demanded that they each want to kiss Mandela. So,
oh, wow. Nice.
So that was Mandela. He made us wait whilst he was kissing girls.
That's a good story. Thank you, sir. Have a good weekend. And we do appreciate once again, State Council. We don't take this lightly for you to take time to talk to us.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was our show today. Join me next weekend. I'll be speaking to one of the Zambian engineers. He'll be discussing, our topic will be Zambia's load shedding crisis. Are there any solutions in the horizon on that? Thank you. Don't forget to follow us on ZBTR TV, Facebook, YouTube, and on X. Have a great weekend.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.